This video is going to cover the answers for standards G3 and G4. I think these are the two most important standards that you'll need to know for the SOL because it's the building block to a lot of different things. Also, these things are easier and we've been using them throughout the year, so you want to make sure that you have these down pat. The first thing in our notes, it talks about parallel lines. These things only work in parallel lines. We can have these types of angles, but our corresponding angles will only be congruent with parallel lines. Remember, that's the same position for the angles. Our alternate interior angles will also be congruent on parallel lines. Remember, we have the inside the parallel lines, which we call the interior, and outside, which we call the exterior. We also have alternate exterior angles, which will be congruent. Again, they're on the exterior of the parallel lines. These three are all congruent. If they're not congruent, the lines are not parallel. We also have consecutive interior angles, and these are supplementary. So we have one acute angle and one obtuse angle. So they add up to 180 degrees. Moving down, we see that we have vertical angles. Vertical angles, we told you to remember in class that they look like an hourglass a lot. Or when we have them like this, a lot of you said that you saw a butterfly. Those are ways to remember vertical angles. They're just opposite corners. We have complementary angles that we're going to add them up and they're going to equal 90 degrees. And lastly, we have supplementary angles which add up to 180 degrees or a linear pair. So take a look. I have a line there. It's even in the word linear. And I put another line through it to create a pair of angles. Questions 1 and 2 deal with vertical angles. Let's get started with those. So question 1 asks us to name a pair of vertical angles. The correct answer is going to be B, angles 1 and 4. They're opposite corners. Question 2 says measure of angle 5 is 102 degrees. So I'll label that. So I have to find the measure of angle 8. It has to be 102 degrees also because those are vertical angles. Let's move down to the other problems for the page. We're asked to name a pair of name a linear pair of angles. The easiest way to show you the answer to this is to give you the answer. It's going to be letter B, which is angle EBC and angle CBG. So if you take a look here, I have this line that's formed by the two angles. So that's my linear pair. So we're also using this same question for number 4. So I'm going to erase this so it doesn't get confusing. Number 4 asks us to name a supplement to angle DBG. So I trace it, DBG, and I want to complete the line. So there are two possible options here. My first option would be angle 1. Since that's not one of my multiple choice answers, I have to keep going. The correct answer is going to be angle 4. So angle 4 forms a linear pair with angle DBG. Let's move on to the second page. We're asked here to find which figure is the measure of angle 1 not equal to 60 degrees. So in order to do this, we need to find out what angle 1 is in each of these. So I'm going to call it X here. So I have to know that all three of those angles have to add up to 180 because they form a line. They're not a linear pair because there's three angles there. Whenever I solve it, I get X is equal to 60, going for the one not equal to 60. B is pretty easy because we see that these angles are complementary. 60 plus 30 equals 90. C, we also have 60 degrees because they are vertical angles. The correct answer here is going to be D because these are complementary angles and 50 plus 40 does not equal 90. Or sorry, 60 plus 40 does not equal 90. Angle 1 has to be 50 degrees. Question 6 says if the measure of angle 1 is equal to 57 degrees. So let's label that. Which angle must also measure 57 degrees? for line C to be parallel to line D. So I'm looking for C to be parallel to D. Let me scroll up so you can see C and D. I need to highlight the two lines or trace them. And I need to put a transversal, one transversal through here. So the angle that also needs to be equal to 57 would be angle 3 or angle 16. Angle 14 could be 57 degrees, but it doesn't tell us anything because they're vertical angles. We need the corresponding angles, which are 1 and 3, or the alternate exterior angles, which are going to be 1 and 16. So the answer to this one is A, angle 3. For number 7, we're told that both lines are parallel. So A is parallel to B and C is parallel to D. And we're told that angle 1 is 4x plus 18. So I'm going to erase what I have here. And angle 7 is 5x minus 12. I know that these angles need to be congruent. First off, they're both acute. So when we're dealing with parallel lines, the acute angles are going to be equal. But I know 1 and 3 are corresponding. I know 3 and 7 are corresponding. That's another way I could show that they're equal. So to find the value of x, I have to solve that equation. So I'm going to take 2 steps at once. Yes, I'm going to add 12 to both sides. So what I have here is x is going to be equal to 30. So to solve number 8, which of the following proves that line C is parallel to line D? We're still using this thing up here. So again, I'm going to trace lines C and D. And my first option is 1 is parallel to 5. Or sorry, 1 is congruent to 5. There's no transversal that runs through it. 1 and 14 deal with this transversal, but they never touch this second line here, this D line. So that's not true. We have 6 is congruent to 8. And whenever I trace that transversal, here's 6, here's 8. I see that's going to be the correct answer. Let's finish off the page. We have to find the value of x. It's a little hard to read. We have 5x here, and we have 3x plus 18 here. So we know these two angles are going to be equal to each other. So we have 5x is equal to 3x plus 18. And whenever we subtract 3x and divide by 2, I get x is equal to 9. And we also need to find the value of y. So we have 2y plus 12 and 5y minus 7. Again, pretty hard to read here. These are consecutive interior angles. We have one acute, one obtuse. So that means they are supplementary. So when they're supplementary, you add them up and you set them equal to 180. Combining like terms, 7y plus 5 is equal to 180. We get 7y is equal to 175. And we get y is equal to 25. If I'm going too fast for you, you can either slow the video down, you can pause it to kind of look at things, or you can rewind it. The last problem says A and B are complementary. So we're given A and B, so remember complementary means we add them up and we set them equal to 90. So we have 8x minus 7 and x minus 11. Combining like terms, 9x minus 18 is 90. And I'm just continuing to solve it, so 108. And I get x is equal to 12 for the answer. So please watch other videos and good luck on the SOL.